Anyway, it cut off, but I'm continuing from what I was saying. We're under the section title called Jesus at the Temple. And some Jews said to Jesus, "Show us a miracle as a sign from God. Prove that you have the right to do these things." Jesus answered, "Destroy this temple and I will build it again in 3 days." They answered, "People worked 46 years to build this temple. Do you really believe you can build it again in 3 days?" But the temple Jesus meant was his own body. After he was raised from death, his followers remembered that he had said this. So they believed the scriptures and they believed the words Jesus said. Jesus was in Jerusalem for the Passover festival. Many people believed in him because they saw the miraculous signs he did. But Jesus did not trust them because he knew how all people think. He did not need anyone to tell him what a person was like. He already knew. So that was the end of John 2, continuing from John 1 yesterday. And John, yesterday I read that John the Baptist introduced Jesus Christ and said, "Here is the one that God told me will be coming, and he's the one who's going to take the world's sin away." Then Jesus started gathering up his disciples. And now in this verse, he's starting to do miracles. So one of his first miracles was, and you'll notice as I read, this is a trait of Jesus Christ. He knows he has a purpose to do. He's gotten of age. He's grown from a little boy to a teenager to an adult now. He's about 30 or so. And he knows the time frame for him to live on earth and give his life away and die is very short. He has about 3 years. So when anyone speaks to him, he's always throwing out information back to them about the kingdom of heaven. And not all the time is it understood. So it's almost, to some people, he's almost like a crazy person talking, or somebody who's really hard to understand, because somebody will ask him something like his mother said, "Hey, we're out of wine. Can you," because this is his mother, of course, he's grown up with him in her household, and she, of course, must have seen some miraculous things he's done. So she has faith in him and says, "Wow, there's something special about this kid." And plus, he was birthed to me, and I had this angels came or whatever and told me that I was going to have the Son of God. So he's definitely proved himself to me that he is this, because he's doing all these things in my house, and it's amazing. So he must probably, I can imagine that Jesus is at home when he's younger one day, and his mother might be talking to Joseph, her husband, like, "I wish I had some wine." And Jesus gets up and maybe does something miraculous to a cup of water and turns it to wine and gives it to her, and she's like, "Oh my God, how did you do that?" So she has faith in him. She knows he has this ability to do this. So she doesn't come out and say, "Can you do this, Jesus?" She just comes straight out and said, "Jesus, they have no more wine." And instead of saying, "Oh, I did that thing for you about the wine. Of course I can do this again." Instead of doing something like that, instead he says, "Dear woman, why are you telling me this? It is not yet time for me to begin my work." So if someone told you that, you're like, "Did you just hear what I said? I'm talking about wine. What are you talking about work?" But Jesus is referring everything. He flips it back to the kingdom of heaven. Everything he ever says. He knows his time is short, so he gets right to it and tells you about the kingdom of heaven. He wants you to think on what he's saying. And this develops your spirit and opens your mind, heart, and everything else in you, so that you can be receptive to the things of God. And once you're on that level, you can actually walk your life out and be receptive to the little things that happen and go on in your world, and know what's the godly purpose of it. You might go through tragedies and chastisities. What's the word? It's a chastity, something like that. You might go through hard times, but at the end of the day, when you compare it to what God's about and what God's kingdom's about, then you start seeing, "Oh, I see what you're working here, God." God will tell you to do weird things, and weird things are happening in your life. There's a story, for example, where God tells a man to go and marry a prostitute. Now, nobody on earth, they have a saying in earth, excuse the phrase, but it's called, "You can't turn a hoe into a housewife." So nobody's going out there looking for whores. But in this instance, this man who doesn't want a whore for a wife is told by God, "Go get this whore who's still going to be whoring around while she's married to you." But I want this to be done as a purpose and an example to the people in the town, in the area, in the group, in the clan, in Israel. I want this to be an example of this is how you're treating me. I'm here as a faithful husband, ready to give you anything you want. And I've married you. I've linked myself to you, and I say I want to be your husband. You're my bride. And at the end of the day, you're whoring around, doing these things with other guys. You're going out and doing sacrifices I've told you not to do. You're following godly rules for these fake gods where they're telling you take your children and burn them in sacrifices. And I don't condone that at all. So you're being a whore to me. So this man, sometimes when you're on God's team, you're going to have to go through something difficult just to prove the power of God to those around you. And you get to a point where when you develop yourself in God and you're more spiritually mature, you can recognize this and you're not throwing a pity party for yourself. You walk through the fire. You say, I'm going to take whatever I'm going through because at the end of the day, this is what God has ordained for my life. And it's going to definitely affect somebody else in a big way. Even if it's just one person, sometimes God will have to do something weird just to reach that one person who needs that example of your life to affect them. So that's what's happening here. Jesus doesn't waste time. You say something to Jesus, he's going to throw something back that's going to make you think and open your spirit and say, what is he trying to tell me here? So his mother was asking for wine. But Jesus is telling them, why are you asking me for my wine now? Why are you asking for the juice that I have, the blood that I'm going to pour out when I get on the cross? Why are you asking for this now? Because eventually that's going to come, but not at this point. So he was comparing wine to his own body, to the blood that he's going to pour out and be the salvation of the world. That's what he started talking about. This is the conversation. If you know what kind of conversation you like to have, whatever it might be. And if you find somebody who's not ready to talk about that conversation, you would like to start that conversation up in any way you can, just to have a good conversation with them, but they would have to be on your level to understand. So that's what's happening here. His own mother asked him, hey, there's no more wine. Remember that trick you did for me where you made me some wine and I felt so good that night? Can you do this for this party because it will be so good? And Jesus says, dear woman, why are you telling me this? It's not yet time for me to begin my work. And so the mother just forgets about him. She's like, he's always talking about that kingdom stuff, that holy stuff. I know my son. So she doesn't come to him and say, what are you talking about, Jesus? Every mother really, if you have raised a child, you're going to know who your son is or your child is. And you know their responses to things and why they respond. So after he said, it's not time for me to begin my work, the mother just ignores him and goes off and says, do what he tells you to do. Because she knows that her son is a good heart and wants to help in every way. Because that's how God is. Jesus Christ is the image of God walking on this earth. And all that goodness, can you imagine this? All that goodness just living in your household every time you need something, coming through, providing for whatever you need, and still having the respect of a child for a parent. So the mother probably knew whatever I ask him, he is so respectful of me. Anytime I tell him to do something, even if he doesn't want to do it, he's going to do it. So she didn't even give him a choice to say yes or no, really. He just started talking about kingdom stuff like always. And she comes on and says, she just turns away from Jesus and turns to the servants and says, do what he tells you to do, because I already know whatever I ask him to do, he is going to get it for me. He's going to do it. And that's the relationship God wants us to have with him, where he says if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can make mountains crumble. You can do big things. All it takes is faith. Where you put out that prayer to God and say, God, I need this son. You already know what I need in my life. You're aware of what I'm living and how I'm living, my living situation. So whatever I ask for and you know that I need, I know you're going to do it. So you don't have to sit there and tell him a whole hour story or pray to him, although it does say pray without ceasing in the Bible. Do that. You can pray, but also have the faith that, hey, I'm coming to you again because you asked me to pray without ceasing, but I know with faith that the first time I prayed to you, God, was the first time that you heard and you began putting things in order for me to receive what I need in my life. So pray constantly, sure, but also have that faith where the kind of Mary faith where she was able to ask Jesus, and even though he didn't say yes or no, she just turned right around and said, do whatever he's going to tell you to do, because I know he's going to give me what I said, because I am in the parent position for him on this earth, and because he is God who wants to give me whatever I want that's good for my life. So that was one example of Jesus Christ telling, somebody something about the kingdom. And then he goes on where the next thing was he turns the water into wine. Many people know that story already. And the person who's the host at the party, he's excited. He's like, wow, who did this? This wine he takes a sip like, this is the best wine I ever tasted in my life. And he says, you know what? I've been to many parties and they serve the good wine first, because after everybody's drunk off the good wine, nobody cares how the rest of the wine tastes. So I've never heard somebody, or I've never seen somebody come and give me good wine at the end too. So he's all excited about that. And it says that was the first miraculous sign that Jesus did. So he's going around and he's building up followers. He's doing miracles, and he's going town to town. And he arrives at the temple. In Israel, there's some specific temple where it was set up long ago, way back in the Old Testament, where it was considered the place where you would come and worship God, and this is where we're going to call God's place, if you were able to house God. Of course, you can't house God, but God allowed them to, and said that this will be a place where you can consider me being there specifically and have respect for me, and bring your love, gifts, and everything else to me. So this is the place that Jesus Christ just walked across. Of course, imagine if you were God and you had a chance to walk on earth as a human. You would want to visit the places that were set up for you in respect for you. That's like if you were someone in the entertainment business and you finally got your gold star on Hollywood Boulevard. Then, of course, one day you're going to eventually come and visit it and say, that's my star right there on Hollywood Boulevard. Wow, I see it in person. I worked hard to get here, etc., etc. So this is what Jesus is doing. He's walking. He goes up to the temple that's supposed to have been created for him, who is God in the flesh. And he goes there and he sees everybody hustling, gambling, trading. And this is the only time really in the Bible that you see him get mad. And he has a right to get mad. Anytime God gets mad, he has a right to get mad. He's not playing around like, oh, you must be exactly, although he says in the Bible, be made perfect as I am perfect. He has the knowledge to know that you're not made perfect yet, and that it's a working task to do to be made perfect like he is. So he's not, when he comes around or when he looks in your life, he's not ready to throw lightning bolts at you. He has consideration for what you're going through, how you've been raised, and how you're living life. And he sees the end of your path, and he does things in your life to direct you into that path by any means necessary. So Jesus he's upset because he sees everybody gambling and hustling in his house, a house that's supposed to be holy. Anything associated with God, he would want it to be holy. That's why he says, be made holy as I am holy. And holy, everyone thinks that, holiness is going to cut out my fun. But I'm somebody who has real good experience to know that no matter what you had going on before you turn your life to God, it's not going to match up to the peace and the love that you can internally feel for yourself. It's a very different feeling from anything that the outside can provide you with, whether you're trying to find happiness with sex, drugs, food, whatever your addiction is, or whatever you wake up and feel excited about going to do, and you know that it may not be the best for your life or the most holy thing for your life. Cutting that out and then leaning on God's word, developing a real relationship with God, finding out what God says about you and what he thinks about you and why he created you. That's a different experience on a whole nother level, and it doesn't even compare to anything else that you could be thinking that could make your life happy. So Jesus is upset and he yells at him, "Take these things out of here. Don't make my Father's house a place for buying and selling." And his disciples who were with him watching all this, they remembered a verse from the Old Testament where it said that pretty much it was predicting that Jesus was going to get mad at that moment. It says, "My strong devotion to your temple." They were like, wow, we are in the temple and he's showing strong devotion. Actually, I'm reading from the easy to read version. In the original King James Version, it says, what does it say? "Zeal for your house will consume me." So this instead it's translated to so it can be easier for us to understand, of course. It says, "My strong devotion to your temple will destroy me." And his disciples who were following him, they were like, wow, this was written back then and it's coming true. So some things you can't deny in your life. When things are looking like a miracle, when things are happening out of the ordinary, you gotta always sometimes just realize that's God. A lot of people, I'm sure you've said it once or twice in your life, that had to be God, or thought it, that had to be God, because there's no way in the world this would occur. And that's where they're standing in awe. The followers are standing there like, wow, this has actually happened. I lived to see right before my eyes the Christ coming to this temple and having a strong devotion and being very upset about it, just like it predicted in Psalm 69 in the Old Testament. So, religious leaders, of course, were allowing this to go on. I'm sure they were in there. So, it's a temple, so there had to be religious leaders in there probably saying, it's okay, go ahead and hustle, it's fine, just give a part of it to the church and we'll be good. And then some Jews said to Jesus, some of the Jews stepped to him after he yelled at them and said, "Wait a second, who do you think you are? You don't come here and just tell us to stop doing what we do. We do this every Sunday, so what are you in here for?" And they come to him and say, "Show us a miracle as a sign from God. Prove that you have the right to do these things. Who gives you the right to come in here and tell us to stop this?" And Jesus answered, and this is another thing. This is whenever Jesus answered, you would think, did you hear my question, what I asked you for? Because he's not saying yes or no or proving anything. But they said, "Prove you have the right to tell us to get out of here." And Jesus said, "Destroy this temple and I will build it again in 3 days." And they look around like, is he on crack or something? Did you hear what I said? And you're telling me to destroy this temple that we're in and you're going to build this in 3 days. So they yell at him and say, "People worked 46 years to build this temple. Do you really believe you can tear it down and build it again in 3 days?" Now, that's what Jesus does. He talks to you about kingdom stuff. He's not talking anything about that place they're standing in, no temple. He's calling his body the temple. Your body's a temple. And he said, he's trying to predict and tell them, I'm about to die for your sin. That's all he's trying to say when he's talking. He doesn't care about their question. He's just trying to hurry up. He only has about 3 years to spread the news, the good news around, and try to get as many people to realize that God is there for love and to develop a relationship with. So he just says, destroy this temple, which he's talking about his body, and again in 3 days it's going to be rebuilt. So he's saying, I'm about to die, but don't worry. In 3 days I'm going to be raised up, and I'm going to conquer sin for you. And I'm going to die for you because I love you. I have love for you. So that's all he's saying through that. And they're thinking about the actual building temple. But he wants to open their spirits up and their minds so they can think about what is he really saying. So that's the second thing. And after that, that's about the end. Everybody started, of course, if you could do miracles, if you had a genie on the side of you right now, you would want that genie by you forever, someone who's treating you good, someone who's doing good things for you. So, of course, Jesus was doing miracles. And it says, many people believed in him because they saw the miraculous signs he did. So, imagine when you go to a magic show, if you knew how they do their tricks, or if you knew their tricks were real, you would really want to team up with them and say, how can I do this? How can I get magic? Because I want all my dreams to come true. But that's what's happening. Jesus did miracles and people started following him. But Jesus, look at this, it says, but Jesus did not trust him. did not trust them because he knew how all people think. And of course, they're not really caring at this point about the kingdom message he's trying to say. He's doing all this miraculous stuff to get the message out about God. But at the end of the day, all they saw was a miracle. So what he's saying is that I know how you think, and I'm not going to get boistered up inside. I'm not going to get all, feeling all good because one day you'll love me and the next day you'll hate me because you aren't here for the message of God. You're here for the miracle. But Jesus needs the miracles to show that there's a difference between him and regular human beings. A regular human being just couldn't do all these things. It has to take an awesome, what is the word? That's omnipotent. I'm trying to think of the word. I can't think of it, but it has to take a God who's above all things to do something different in this world. But me and you, we don't have these miraculous powers. Although we can say prayers and have things come through and change things with prayers, that's our power. But Jesus Christ had actual God power, the God who took and just spoke and put the world into existence. Universes, earth, sun, moon. Who created these things? Like I said yesterday, if there's a creation, there has to be a creator. So, you don't just go to if someone calls you to dinner and there's a dinner plate on the table and it's all made, you don't just say, oh, that must have been a miracle that was made because, or for a better example, if you were a parent, if you're a mother and you have a child and that child raises up and the father left the home, the child's going to know, I don't see a father around, but I had to be created by somebody. So I do have a father out there somewhere, even if your mom could lie to you all day and say, oh, you're created by a miracle, or try to say, yeah, I'm just like Jesus. I birthed you without a real husband. You came from the heavens. But in your common sense, you're going to realize I'm created. There has to be a creator. And in order to create me, two people had to get together, or an egg and a sperm had to get together in a lab or wherever. So I have a dad somewhere. Someone's sperm created me. And that's just like what God is. God created Jesus Christ, and God put himself in Jesus Christ, and he knows all things, and he can do all things, and he put that power of creating the universe into Jesus, where Jesus can do those things too, just to show you that there is a difference. Because you see many people, some people are not fitting. They're trying to trick you. They're working with evil. They want to do evil instead of good, by trying to tell you, oh, I am chosen by the Lord. Here I am. Watch me do miracles. I was watching this program. Does anyone remember the TV show Outer Limits that used to be like the Twilight Zone? There's this episode where this man was a powerful preacher and he was just going around faking the people, trying to get money out of them. And then comes along this real man who had this real power. And he was doing it for evil, trying to gather people and follow him, or make them follow him. But that's what people are. Some people are just caring about the money, just like this crowd. They just care about the miracles. What can you give me, Jesus? You can do things that I can't. I'm going to follow you because I want to know what your power secret is. And Jesus did not trust them because he knew how all people think. So he did not need anyone to tell him what a person was like. He already knew. And that's how it ends in chapter 2, or verse 2, John 2. So that is it for today. In summary, let's just say one sentence for the whole thing. Jesus Christ, short lifespan. He lived to about 30, 33, 34 years old. He started his ministry and his miracles about the age 30. He knew that anything that he said had to have importance and just like I'm doing now. I don't know how long I have to live, but the things that I want to put out in the world is to affect someone, even if it's just one person out of this whole world. If one person listens one day, maybe 50, 100 years from now, if one person finds the word of God and can say, I can turn my life to God because that's where true happiness, hope, love, faith, and everything good is for my life, then mission accomplished. Only God knows who this is going to affect. So every person who's put and set to speak the word of God out to anyone, they are definitely destined to affect someone's life. You might not ever know it, but that's the purpose of God putting the things, the hardships in your own life so you can have that experience, so you can share with somebody else, and then they can do something better with it. So yeah, be like Jesus, like he did. Well, he did miracles, of course, but at the end, don't be so excited if everyone's following you and happy for you. This reminds, I just now thought about this. I can link this to, there's a entertainer in this time and age, whatever year you listen to this video, year 3000, whatever. But in this age, popular entertainer is Justin Bieber. He gets a lot of flack. I mean, from what I see, he makes pretty good songs. I don't really listen to it. I like more hip hop, rap, that kind of thing. And sometimes he makes a song that crosses over to R&B. But, instead of pop. But anyway, he gets this, I mean, it's so awkward. He has a lot, when he started out, everyone's in love with him, but as slowly as time goes on, like with anybody, people start to, or kind of even at the beginning, people will throw the shade, there's a group of haters, and people just kind of make a joke out of, for no reason at all. You ask, what's the worst entertainer? I mean, excuse me, niece, but I watched my niece's video, she even put that on there. She even she even put that on there, and it's almost like it's awkward. You can have this whole group of lovers because your work is good, but at the same time you have this whole group of haters. And just recently, I saw a post online where he's writing a message, and he gets which I'm so glad to see too, that it seems like he's trying to develop his faith and come to God too, because of course, when you go through a hard time, which I know entertainers do all the time because they're living this unprivate life. Everybody wants to get in their business and put them on this television show, TMZ or whatever, to see what's the latest gossip. Now, some of them love it. Some of them will start the problems just so they can get on there and get fame. And they think the fame makes them money, but some have an authentic talent, and that talent has put them in the limelight. And now that they're there, they have to deal with people wanting to be in their business and want to be nosy and want to find out about them all the time. So he just recently got some kind of tattoo of a cross, I think, on his face. I didn't see the picture, but I just read this article. I guess it's a cross. And he also put out a note after that on his social media page and said that, you know what, I'm not going to take any more pictures because I'm feeling like a caged animal. People are just, expecting this of me, like they can just take a picture anytime I want to. And you gotta know that's annoying when somebody's always in your business. I can imagine that. I know the feeling of that too. And you have to go through it in order to know exactly how it feels. Where someone just wants to go into your life just to criticize you or tear you down in some way, shape, or form because their own life is miserable and they have to find some excitement. What time is it? 3:36. I have to go to work. They have to find some kind of excitement so that they can feel good about themselves or have something to gossip with. Gossip rules the nation. The nation really. The sun's coming out. Gossip rules the nation, and so it's annoying. And you don't want to say, "Hey, I know you support me. I know you love me, but why in the world do you have to be like this? Like some kind of just always. I gotta, I don't know." Just always in someone's business. And usually the people who are coming for you, they're not trying to find anything good. They're trying to find something bad about you so that they can go spread it around and tear you down. So it's in this day and age, it's a known thing that people, if you ask them, who's an annoying singer, when this man actually makes pretty good music, although I don't listen to it, he makes pretty good music. But for what reason are you saying that he's bad? Just because he's good? So Jesus knows what people are about. Jesus knows what's inside of a person. And he's not going to let this whole group of followers, he looks out and they're like, yes, Jesus, you got it. Do another miracle, please, because this is really filling me up and I'm learning about the kingdom of heaven. I just really want to see you do another miracle. Can you do one for us? So Jesus is not going to get all puffed up because he knows which exactly is what happened. He knows one day people will love you, and the next day they'll tear you down, which is what they did. Can you imagine that whole big crowd of people he's done all these miracles for? and he's facing death. Even though he's ordained to die, he's called to die, and he's purposely doing this because he could stop it. Like I said, he has miraculous power. At any moment, he can call a whole team of angels and say, you know what, they're trying to kill me. Now I can handle this all myself, but I don't want to lift a finger. So angels, take care of that for me because you know I'm God in the flesh, and I run this. I run everything around here. He could have did that, but he knows he has a purpose for them. But those same people he did miracles for, they're standing in the crowd, and when they say, here's your choice, you have Jesus Barabbas or Jesus Christ. Which one do you want to die? Everybody saying, save Jesus Barabbas and kill Jesus Christ. Now, Jesus could have said, hey, don't you remember I'm the one who you were clapping for just last week and I was doing the miracles for you? What happened to all that? You liked me, didn't you? But that's not what happened because there's a purpose and a plan for everything. And, but anyway, back to the story I was saying. And this entertainer, he put out a message, you know, I'm not going to take pictures. And actually, this happened, something before that happened from this actress. I can't think of her name yet, but she's just been in recent movies. And she was running, exercising, jogging, or something like that. And this man comes up to her and tries to take a picture with her. And she's like, well, of course, you're not at your best. You're all sweaty and you're jogging. I mean, you don't want to be in a picture looking like that. So she asked the man, you know what, I'm jogging, trying to exercise. Can I just exercise? And he's like, no, America made you. We own you. He goes, we own you. And you own me this picture. So you can imagine people are on your team. I mean, I'm sure the man was a fan. But in his mind, humanity, just like Jesus said, Jesus didn't need anyone to tell him what a person was like. He already knew. Sometimes we get this arrogance in ourselves as people like, yeah, I made that entertainer. When actually, no, their skill made themselves. You didn't make anything. You barely made your bed this morning. What are you talking about you made? You bought a CD or album or you went and saw a movie. Congratulations. But the blessing on that person's life is going to come with or without you. So don't think that you were the money maker or something like that. That person was blessed with a talent and they're able to put the talent out. So that's why he was saying that, you know, I don't want to take any more pictures. And then he gets this whole crowd, even some of the people who are following him at first saying, how dare you? We're the ones who support you in your CDs. How dare you tell us that you won't take a picture with us? And I just reposted the thing and I said, you know what? He doesn't come to, when you get off your job in McDonald's, he does not come to your job or to your door, knock on the door and tell you to make him a hamburger. I mean, there's a time when people work, that's his work. This is not his ongoing, every time you see me, I must start, like a Michael Jackson or something. Every time I see Michael Jackson, he must perform the moonwalk for me. I mean, you have to realize the pressures you put on people's lives. I mean, you wouldn't want that pressure for yourself, so don't expect it. He's a regular human being. Real flesh, real blood. What do you think he was made in a science lab or something? Or is a robot and he can keep on going and going and going and pumping out whatever as soon as you snap your fingers? Give me some magic moonwalk right now. I mean, no. People are human. Give people human chances. Give people human forgiveness. For someone who does something like that and demands something of someone else, forgive that person. Forgive yourself for being like that and start realizing how people actually should be more loving, caring, considerate, kind, more like God. That's the things of God. But in this world, we're influenced by more things that are against God than for God. If people were influenced by God, this world would be where you wouldn't have to tell somebody, hey, give me a break. Please, can you stop taking these pictures of me? You would have consideration in yourself and say, oh, this person probably is getting annoyed by going past 50 million people every day, concerts, and wherever they go, they have to go through all these places, sign autographs, take pictures. And then here I am on the street. If I ask, I'm sure ask, would you feel like taking a picture? Oh, you don't? Okay. I respect that. I'll see you when you come to my city for a concert. You don't just force, hey, like the man get the woman. I couldn't believe it. Hey, I own you. America made you. and give me the picture that I purchased when I you bought a movie ticket. You didn't buy the whole actress. Calm down. But that's the world we live in. And one person speaking up like I do can influence someone to open their mind and realize. Tell a marketer um and realize that what was I saying? Oh, one person speaking up like I'm doing can make someone else realize how we should actually be as a loving humanity. What's missing in this world is love, and we can see it out. We can lie to ourselves all day and say, "There's no evil in this world. What are you talking about?" But just consider the things that go on. You can see it easily, and it's definitely overpowering the world, and we're doing things our own way instead of God's way. So I'm just gonna end it like that. And yeah, we'll talk about John 10 tomorrow. Everyone have a very blessed day. Our Father who art in heaven, holy is your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on this earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive those who have debts against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Because it's yours is the kingdom, the power, and glory forever and ever. In Jesus' name. Amen. Have a blessed Monday, everybody. Goodbye.